Hey everybody, what's up? We're here live with D at Indiana Downs Raceway, and really excited to be here. Today we have a special guest with us, a really important person, and we want to introduce you to him and ask a couple questions and see what's the reason we're here and understand a little bit about horse racing. So we're going to turn it over here.
Well, you already made one mistake. I'm not important, but my name's Dave Hooper. I work for the Marion County Superior Court as a judicial officer, doing mostly bail hearings, but I also enjoy buying, selling, and racing thoroughbred racehorses. We're here at Indiana Downs, which is a very, very pretty facility here in Shelbyville, Indiana. This is opening day. We still have an hour before post time, so most everybody's inside looking at the programs and getting their drinks and doing whatever else they do. Jared, if you want to get a shot up there, if you haven't already, you can see the huge clubhouse. And lots of people will be up there later today. Nice dining and TVs to watch the races and machines and betting booths to make your bets. A little bit about myself. I bought my first piece of a racehorse, gosh, about 4 or 5 years ago. Been in it ever since. It's addicting. It's expensive, so I'm not somebody who buys and sells all the time. Or
Give us an idea, Dave, about how you go from maybe being at a track and watching a race to, hey, I want to be part of this, I want to be a horse race owner. How do you make that transition?
This is a game in a sport where all the participants are very, very friendly. You can meet a horse trainer, meet a horse owner, and they will tell you, they'll sit down with you, have a cup of coffee, and tell you the ins and outs. And it really is a very open and friendly game. In my instance, it just so happened that a professor from my college, Indiana State, owned racehorses, and we were sitting together at dinner one night, and I'd always wanted to get into horses. This was back 7 years ago, and he mentioned his trainer, and he mentioned what he did, and we latched on together, bought a horse together, bought a couple horses together, so I was kind of fortunate in that end that I had an expressway into ownership and being around somebody who knew the ins and outs of the game. And I use the same trainer as we use with him to this very day. There's a lot of ways to get into it. You can go to auctions that are held all over the country. You can buy your own female horse and take her to get bred to a stallion, anywhere there's stallions all over the country. Obviously, Kentucky is generally the leading stallion producing state, as everyone probably can guess. You can do what's going to happen today. Most races are what are called claiming races. That means every horse in the race is up for sale. My horse today is up for sale for $7,500. Anyone can buy him. I'm a little nervous that it might happen because he's not a bad horse. So we'll see at the end of the race if someone claims him from us. So that's another way to get a racehorse. And those prices in Indiana vary for anywhere between $5,000 and $25,000. In the bigger horse racing states, Kentucky, Florida, California, you can get as much as $100,000 in the claiming type of races. Obviously the Kentucky Derby, things like that are not claiming races, but your bread and butter, Indiana Downs, Hoosier Park type of races will be claiming races.
Okay, so you go out and you get this horse. Now you own a horse, or you're a portion owner of a horse with other people. Where do you go from there? I mean, you have a horse. What are you going to do? What are you going to do with that horse?
You got to find a trainer. You got to find a good trainer that you trust, that has a good reputation. That trainer usually has his own farm or has some other trainers that they have a farm where you can keep your horse. You pay the trainer a daily rate. Sometimes it depends on whether the horse is in training or not.
And you don't have to get into specifics of the money. Just.
That's fine. I won't. Gladly, I won't. But you put your trust in the trainer to take care of the horse, to get him ready to race, to take care of his veterinary needs that he may have, his food, everything else. It's a big, big industry. In fact, if you look behind me, all those red roofs back there are stables, and those are handed out to trainers by Indiana Downs Management. And there's always a huge demand. There's about 600 or 700 stalls back there, and there were 1,700 requests this year. So it's very political and very difficult. My trainer, fortunately, has a pretty good reputation and got about a dozen stalls or so, maybe a little bit more than that, which is actually pretty good.
Okay, so now we're to the point of having a trainer. The trainer probably gives you an idea of when he thinks the horse is ready. Then does he provide you with that information and you decide, yeah, I think I want to go ahead and give it a go, or is it completely left on his shoulders?
There's a couple ways to do it. I am very laissez-faire. I try and keep my hands off as much as I can. The close calls he'll let me make, like today. Today's a claiming race. He's like, do you want to try this level? You might lose him, but you'll get $7,500 if you lose him. He let me make that call. Most other calls I let him make, but when it's time to race, where to race, and for how much, usually we have a pretty good discussion every time. But as far as the ins and outs and the daily working of the horse and how fast should we give him a workout today or work him out at all or what are definitely left to the professional.
Okay, and this claiming race starts, you get your horse, you know, he has a particular post position, he goes out there and he races. Are you paying an entry fee to get this horse in?
Nope.
Or no entry fee?
No entry fees for claiming races, generally speaking.
And is there any money to be won, or is it just the fact that you're racing him with the chance of being able to sell him?
In fact, if you want to, you can't see it here, but back there's a huge casino. And by state law, certain casino monies have to go to horse purses in Indiana. The race we're racing for is a purse of $11,000. The winner gets 60%, second place gets 20, third place gets 10, fourth place gets 5, and the remaining horses split the remaining 5 or something close to that.
Okay.
Sometimes down to 3% for the fifth place horse, just depends.
And if you don't mind me asking, sir, if you have the breakdown that you just gave me, let's say that your horse gets that 60%, you know, and brings in, you know, $5,000, $6,000. What happens then with that money? Who all has to get a piece of that
Everyone
pie?
gets their hand out. The jockey gets 10%, and the Jockeys Union has got a nice, sweet deal with the racetrack where it automatically comes out of the winner's check. I don't even ever see that money.
So he's going to get $600 right out of the gate if it's a $6,000 first place.
That's exactly right. Right out. Yep. That's for one race. Not bad for a day's work.
No,
or
not
for a
one race.
minute work. Yeah. The trainer will get 10%. He just adds that onto his bill at the end of the month.
Okay.
And then that's about it as far as winning expenses. If you win, you know, you got to buy win photos for everyone. Usually I buy people dinner too.
Okay. And so, you know, at what point does that horse, the particular horse you have, I would assume from the little that I know about horses that age is a big deal. You know, there are certain races you can race at this age or that age. At what point do you say, you know, it's time to put this horse up, you know, for sale for sure? Not in a race, but is there a point that comes where you say, I hate to part with this horse, but I need to sell it. It's financially, you know, more responsible to do this and move on to a younger horse.
Yeah, that happens unfortunately, and there's no real rules. Most horses you're going to see running here today and running across America are anywhere between ages 2 and 6. Some places you'll see 6 to 8 year olds. Very rarely are you going to see a 9, 10, or 11 year old, and some tracks cut off at 11. They won't let horses race after age 11 or age 10. So yeah, that does happen. That happens in the life of every horse. I mean, ideally, the horse races for 5 years, 6 years, and then it either goes off to stud, gets retired. But yeah, obviously there are hard decisions that have to be made when the horse starts not to perform.
And do you think that at some point the goal for you would be to have a stable of your own horses where, you know, where Dave Hooper and the partnership owns 10 horses, or is the goal for you to be more hands-on with just maybe 1 or 2 horses that you can be intimately involved with as far as
if I could afford it, I'd buy as many as I could. I love it that much. It's just very, very expensive hobby to have and investment to make. But the goal is to always win money, take that money, reinvest it, and build. But that's a long process.
Is there anything that you can think that you can tell people that might be watching this about horse racing that might get them out here, you know, notions that are out there that are bad about it, or things that you could say that might interest them from getting out behind their TV or their computer and coming out and checking out a race and seeing, you know, the whole process and how really beautiful it is out here?
Yeah, I mean, anyone who says the PETA people who say the horses are mistreated, that's so misguided. My horse is so spoiled. He eats very well. He has a vet at his disposal 24 hours a day with any problems he may have. Unfortunately, as you may know, there have been some high-profile catastrophic breakdowns in the Kentucky Derby and Preakness in the last 5 or 10 years. Those are, right now, reports say about a 1 in 1,000 chance of that happening. It's just freak accidents when that happens, and it is sad, it's terrible. These horses are treated better, though, here on track than they would be running wild. The other thing is anybody can participate. Bring $2, and that's the minimum for a win bet. So you can bring for 10, 20 bucks out here and have a full day. As you can see, there's a playground back here for the kids, and that place will be, trust me, I'll be loud and jumping here in a couple hours with children everywhere. It's exciting, it's fun, it's a great way to spend a day, in my opinion. And that's how I got started, basically, is just coming to the track because it was something to do, and look at me now.
Okay. Well, We thank you very much for your time, Mr. Hooper. We're going to put this up online, and hopefully we'll get a lot of views, and we hope that your horse wins tonight in its big debut race.
Thank you, Darren.